Good morning, my dear students. Welcome back to your English class. It's a long time since we have met. Hope you do well. We have already begun our official class, and this is required to be considered as a continuation of the former. Since you're in 10th, I know you're indeed doubtful and worried of the online classes and its effectiveness. But student, remember one thing. Nothing will be effective unless and until we the teachers and you the students work together. So let's join our hands for the same goal. Dear student, we are not in a real-time classroom. I hope each and every one of you will go through this video carefully and will be attentive till the end. This is my humble request that no one of you shall be a passive listener of the session. For today I am going to deal with the third poem in your textbook, First Flight. Already we discussed in detail regarding the genre of poetry and its branches in our earlier classroom. I hope you remember. So this video will directly deal with the concerned poem alone. Before that, I would like you all to get your English notebook and keep on writing all the main points going to be discussed in this session as well as in the coming ones. So my dear student, once again I welcome you all to a new beginning and suggest you to be attentive throughout this video. So let's begin. A Tiger in the Zoo. A Tiger in the Zoo is a brilliant poem of Leslie Norris, who was a Welsh poet, short story writer, and a teacher by profession. He served both in the First and Second World Wars. During his free time, he wrote many poems. His literary works have won many prizes. His famous works are Finding Gold, The Love Winter, Phoenix Living Poetry's Ransom, etc. This poem, A Tiger in the Zoo, contrasts a tiger when it is in its natural habitat and when it is imprisoned in a zoo. Norris explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. The poet explains what his life could be if he had been a free animal. In general, the poet has tried to narrate the condition of animals that are caged by human beings for their own fun. So my dear student, let me recite the poem first of all. I request you all go through the lines and feel the caged animal. He stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage, on paths of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the water hole where plum deer pass. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws terrorizing the village. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He hears Allah's voice at night, the patrolling carts, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. I hope you enjoy the construction of those beautiful lines and understand the profundity of them. Now let's go in deep stanza by stanza here. He stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage on paths of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Some of the difficult words that you may not be familiar with are given here. Stalks follows, vivid bright colored, parts means pole of the tiger, and rage means anchor. So he stalks in his vivid strips. He stands for the tiger. Here the poet says that the tiger that is locked up in the zoo moves around in the cage under his bright colored skin. Okay, the tiger is moving. The moving around the cage in the zoo. And what is the specialty of the tiger? The tiger is bright colored one. Okay, he further says that the tiger can take only a few steps because the cage is small and it is not easy to move in it. Okay, you see here, let's see here the few steps of his cage. Tiger can take only few steps because the cage is very small and it is not that much easy for the tiger to have lavish steps, or he cannot move as if he was moving in the forest. Okay, in the natural habitat of the tiger, they can move anywhere, they can run anywhere, but it is not possible for the tiger which is caged. That is what the poet here means in this line, the few steps of his cage. It is not easy for someone to hear his footstep because he has very soft feet like velvet, and because of which there is no sound of the tiger's footsteps. That is what the meaning of the third line here, on paths of velvet quiet. Okay, the tiger is moving around the cage in the zoo, but his movements are not heard by anyone else, because you understand the specialty of the tiger's feet, because it's like the parts of velvet. It is very soft, it's very smooth, so people cannot hear his footstep. That is what the poet means here, on paths of velvet quiet. And the last line, the tiger is so frustrated and angry because he is not free. He tries to control his anger by quietly walking in the limited area of his cage. See, in his quiet rage, he is angry, he is frustrated because he is not free enough. He cannot move or he cannot run in the cage as he did in the forest, so that he is so frustrated and angry. That's what the poet here means. In his quiet rage, he is controlling his anger by quietly walking in the limited area of his cage. So once again, summarize the main idea in the first stanza. Here the poet, Leslie Norris, speaks about a tiger which is caged, in a zoo. He is actually not able to walk freely as if he did in the forest. He makes only a very limited footsteps because the given space is very limited one. So the tiger is so frustrated, very much angry, because he is not free at all. He tries to control his anger by quietly walking in the limited area of his cage. I hope you have understood today's session. For the time being, let us call for the day. The remaining stanzas will be explained in the coming sessions. Along with this video, I attach a PDF document also, and I would like you all go through the same and write it down in your notebook. So, my dear student, thank you so much. Have a nice day.